This episode, I have got to admit, is something absolutely different. This, I think, is one of my favorite episodes from Dino Fury because this is something that makes you wonder what's going on. And it's kind of like a clip show, but it's not at the same time. It's mainly kind of flashbacky, but I'm glad it's not a clip show because I goddamn hate clip shows. But anyway, what am I talking about? We're talking about episode 15. One thing that I've always wanted, and I really want them to do at the end of Dino Fury, and I hope it's in there, and it was like, next time on Power Rangers. So in this one, we get previously on Power Rangers. I goddamn love that sort of stuff. Don't know why. I think it should be a thing altogether. The Green Morphin Master has returned and has brought Zato back to life, which means that they have the power of life, which kind of get, but it just means that if any Ranger now falls, that they can bring them back, no problem. And I don't mind this, but I generally kind of think this is a bad kind of trope to have. She gives him a new power, which is the Dino Master Saber, which basically is a god weapon that can literally kill you and kill the other person, which, again, I feel like this is going to be at the end. Maybe that could either take Zato out or won't because the power's been updated or whatnot. But this is kind of at the very beginning when you have the blue morphing master come in as well and says like, shit, you're not doing this. You've basically broken the code and something like this. And, you're not allowed to do it. And they show you like clips previously of the past. You see stuff with Beast Morphers, with Grid Connection, where you have Austin coming back in this one. So when they're like, no other legendary Rangers coming back, technically you had one in a flashback. You have the fact that he got his coin back. So that has cleared up. Like, how did Jason get his power back? And that was literally due to the Green Morphing Master. You also have the point of the Legendary War, which I was really surprised on. That really got me because I love Super Mega Force. So now seeing it kind of brought in that way, I was just like, damn, that's good. That's one thing that you want. And it does kind of bring up the whole thing when they teleport and turn into light. I know what they wanted to do. I know that they may not have thought of the Morphing Masters that way, but them having them turn into light, it's a good way to explain it, but I feel like it could have been done something different, that the Rangers just teleported away and that was the Morphing Masters actually doing that, rather than like, oh, you turn them into light. So now if you see that light ball thing at any point, it's the Morphing Masters kind of stepping in. Again, kind of like, because you do actually see it happen quite a few times in this episode. I like the fact that you have Steel, because they explain about Steel on how he died and the Morphing Masters brought him back. And I love the fact that Izzy like freaks out in a geeky way. It's like, oh my God, he was a Power Ranger. Oh my God, damn. And you kind of hear this again earlier when Izzy and Fern are on a date going to the prom episode. So seeing that to me was fantastic. I love it when Rangers get really excited. That to me is something that really brings out something in this. So kudos on that one. Some of the lines in this, you find out that the Morphing Masters, there have been multiple versions of them, and that to me took me back because I generally didn't think that there was more. I thought that maybe there were 6 and that was it. So maybe it means that when they were like, many Morphing Masters have fallen due to them being hunted down by evil. And I like the kind of explanation on this because they explain that there are tons of like bad guys. So normally it's like, oh, as soon as a Power Ranger comes along, there is a bad guy. What do we do? You can imagine that as soon as like Zed's around, then you have, Master Vile. Then you also have, like, say, the Armada and stuff like that. They're all around it. They're evil that they've come along. So it kind of goes more into the lore of it. And I really like that kind of explanation. I might make a video about that much later on. This isn't off script. But this really kind of brings it in. And having the Blue Morphing Master kind of explain all of this makes me kind of wonder, oh shit, what else could happen? And I would love it, even if they extended the thing or had like an extra episode where they explained more of the Power Ranger lore. I think that would be absolutely fantastic. And that's something that I would really, really love to kind of hear. So as like everyone steps in and say like, the Green Morphing Master saved me. She's done this, she's done that. Literally Blue's like, no, like she has done bad. She needs to be put in a place that she needs to be basically frozen. That is the law of the Morphing Masters. And it does make sense to some degree. But then I'm kind of like, oh, okay, maybe just kind of listen. So obviously as the Green Morphing Master sends them back to Ravcon to kind of fight Lord Zed and little things like that, she kind of disappears and it's just like, see ya. So I generally really like these kind of thoughts because it makes me think, oh, okay, they don't want to stick to this like one rule all the time. But when we kind of move back to Rafcon and the Rangers going in there, they find out that if the machine that creates Sporax is literally taken away from the planet, it will explode. And this is a big part. I thought, oh, maybe they'll defeat Lord Zed and they'll run away and there'll be a big massive fight and then the machine will be destroyed. But spoilers, it's not. Lord Zed actually teleports it away with Scrozzle's help and stuff like that, which then causes the entire planet to explode. And I think what is quite an emotional thing that you kind of see standing out is the fact that when the planet explodes and the Rangers are on the Megazord, kudos to the Megazord just floating in space, kind of like that. But the fact is that, Zato goes down, he's like, oh my God, what the hell? Like, my planet's been destroyed. And it kind of made me think of Thundercats for some strange reason when you see the planet explode. But in general, when you see this sort of stuff, I generally felt sorry for Zato. He's been searching for his planet for such a long time, and he sees it being destroyed, being blown up by the one thing that his people created, which was the Sporex machine. So meanwhile on Earth, everyone's back. Lord Zed is literally there with the machine. He's going to use it to create more Sporex. We have Void King and Queen. They come in, they're like, oh, hey, we hate you, so we're going to fight you. But then Zed kind of like sweet talks them around. It's a simple thing. It's not too bad, but, it makes them kind of not want to like interact. But with the way that Void Queen is, she disappears. And then obviously it's a fight between every single person bar Zed and Scrozzle, who are literally looking after the machine. Kind of like this. It's a lot of things to kind of take in this one episode. It's absolutely fine. I'm kind of talking a lot. Anyway, so with this, like, you kind of think the Rangers are going to kind of win. But Void King just goes in and absolutely just destroys the Rangers quite quickly. We get a new kind of powered up mode for Ion, which is the Master Dino Saber. Now, one thing is, they explained at the very beginning of the episode that if whoever uses this will literally, against their enemies, will die and the bad guys will die. But it kind of changes a little bit later on, which I'll kind of explain. But with the main thing is, like, the Rangers actually get to a point where they're cornered and they're like, oh, don't you have a pink Ranger? And Amelia is right behind them on the bike, which is a first, because normally when you see powered up modes of like a Battleizer or something like that's designed for the Red Ranger, it's always the Red Ranger. But we see that Amelia uses it and actually just beats them all down, which again was a fantastic thing to kind of see. Again, I kind of like this. This whole season is like a first for everything. And it's bringing more life into it, which I generally really, really like. Mainly the fact as soon as the bad guys kind of disappear, it's Scrozzle as well as Zed. And the Rangers are about to go fight. They're kind of like talking it over. But then Scrozzle teleports out. And I love the fact that it's the Beast Morphers effect. It's not like the whole thing that drops them down. So Scrozzle is out there in the universe again. He's obviously going to come back to the next one. But I hope that he's one of these returning villains all the time, because I really do love Scrozzle on this. I think he's a great character. Lord Zed puts up a barrier. The Rangers use their powered up modes. They can't get through it. They can't get past this force field because it's too strong. And I kind of guessed that because obviously Zed is a powerhouse in this. The Green Morphin Master arrives, turns up, takes down the force field, but then gets locked in a battle with Zed. And you can see that Zed is more powerful. And he says, like, I can feel your power like decreasing. So either the Morphin Masters have been around for a long time, or individually they're not as strong as if they were unified. And I like this storytelling. It just shows that the bad guys are the bad guys. It's not like I've got an energy beam and I'm going to beat you. But with this, Ion jumps in and says, like, this is the reason why I'm here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to kind of distract Zed, which then gives the Green Morphin Master enough time to kind of swoop in, attack, and then encase them in crystal, which we heard previously in the episode, which again is a very nice way. But one thing that does kind of get me is when they're all back at the base talking. We see the Red Morphing Master, the Blue Morphing Master. They come in. They start talking like, oh, where's green? We can censor. And they just instantly turn around and go, okay, well, they're in crystal. Lord Zed is now in crystallized and stuff. And they just restore green. Now, to me, I would much of them preferred to turn around and go, okay, in the next episode they turn up and then they kind of restore green. It just feels like her sacrifice was a good thing. But I kind of think it needed to kind of stay on where they go, yes, we've kind of rethought this. We're going to go back and change it. It's a great thing. But I feel like her being restored quite quickly was just kind of okay, it's pretty cool. But the fact is that Lord Zed is now captured and they take him to another planet, which then means that Zed could come back. And I feel like you can't contain his entire power in this. And I think that over time he will escape. But I think it would be much better if he escaped, because he could have been the main bad for Cosmic Fury. That's what I would have done, because I feel like that would have been the better thing to go for. I feel now we're at the end game of the series. I feel like this is it. We're now in the countdown to the big bad happening. Maybe we get one episode that's a filler episode, but maybe we get the end game. I like the fact that Scrozzle's back again, but he's now disappeared somewhere else. I love the fact that they've done a lot, and the fact that we're going to see Void Queen at Buzz Blast with the machine, or calling in all the Sporix. I do believe that they're going to remake the machine, but kind of change it a little bit so it doesn't destroy the Earth, or maybe that's the big bad for it. Is the Earth going to be destroyed? I don't know. But I am absolutely pumped for this. I absolutely really, really want to see more. I can't wait for the rest of the episodes, and now I know I have to wait. But it's a fantastic series so far. But I'm going to leave that. What are your thoughts? Are you enjoying Dino Fury? Have you seen this episode yet? Or are you waiting? Let me know down below in the comments. And with that, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for liking, favorite, commenting, and subscribing. And with that, I'll see you soon in a bit.
チャンネルをサポートしてくれてありがとうございます。チャンネル登録、高評価お願いします。以下のリンクから商品を入手することができます。